quite a morning coming down from Tokerville Falls and then tooling around up in the sand and rocks there above Hurricane, and then running into Matt's off-road recovery. The rest of today should be just highway driving, trying to log some miles. I may have one little point of interest to stop at. When I planned my route, I was actually assuming this rural highway from Utah to Nevada would be paved, not a gravel road. This is a pretty smooth gravel road. I can't complain about this. This is not a bad way to log some miles. I'd rather do this and move a little more slowly than the rush intensity of the interstate. I'm driving through a remote BLM area, but it is rangeland, and I'm encountering quite a bit of cattle rancher traffic out here. As it happens, with not too much of a detour, there's what I think looks like it could be a pretty interesting historical site out here. As usual, the wild horses are already galloping away before I can get to my camera, but at least the dash cam caught them briefly. These are charcoal kilns, and they date to the 1870s. The charcoal produced was used for silver mills in Nevada. Smelting silver apparently requires lots of heat, and charcoal actually ended up working better than just burning wood. These walls just look like they're put together with rocks and mud. These holes around the base of each kiln helped to regulate the airflow. The vent at the top would actually be plugged to slow and control the speed of combustion. Burning a stack of wood into charcoal would take about 30 days. These kilns were used from about the 1870s into the late 1890s, and I've just been standing here ever since. I'm back on pavement, but I've realized I did have another point of interest flagged here in eastern Nevada. This is Cathedral Gorge State Park, which looks like it might be right up my alley. This is so cool. So this is a state park. This was right on my way, and I had to pay an entrance fee. I don't plan to be here long. Famous last words every single time. These really unusual rock formations are the result of millions of years of erosion acting on this relatively soft clay stone, forming these short but dramatic slot canyons in places. It doesn't even look real. Oh, no way. No way. Oh my gosh. That is probably, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, maybe 5 stories. There are multiple sets of these little slots that wind down through this bizarre formation. It's getting skinnier. I'm having to step sideways, one leg in front of the other. one's even taller. Well, another stop that I thought would be 15 minutes, take a look, take some pictures, move on down the road. I've been here for at least an hour, but totally worth the time, totally worth the entry fee, even if it was just for an hour. I just can't believe these vast valleys that just go on, surrounded by these crazy, craggy mountains all over the place, and it's almost all public land. I am really intrigued by Nevada. It doesn't quite have the immediate satisfaction of the red rock and all of the crazy rock formations in Arizona and Utah, but there's something fascinating about just the desolation. It's just nothing. It's just nothing as far as you can see. Well, it is getting dark, but it is only 7 o'clock, and I'm in a little valley between two sets of mountains, but I'm actually up at like almost 7,000 feet. It's really cold outside, so I have no particular desire to make camp and stand around outside in the cold. So I'm gonna log another hour at least, maybe another 2 hours, and then just poke up a random BLM road and cook a quick dinner and sleep for the night. Okay, it is about 9:30, probably about 9 o'clock. I started looking for some place to pull off, to find a place to camp. Took a random road up some BLM land, and which actually eventually ran into national forest land, so I got out of the sort of open sagebrush desert down by the highway and found myself up in some trees. Found a little campsite. There is not one but two fire rings, but it is cold. We're at about 6,600 feet. What's funny is that out of all of this trip, yesterday, last night, was the warmest night that I've had. When I was up at Tokerville Falls, it was so hot and sweaty, I was able to like get into a river to wash off. And then the very next night, here I am, and it is cold. I have just some sliced chicken breast, some shredded cheese. So I'm just going to make a little grilled cheese with some chicken on it. Whew. Well, it's not particularly elegant, but it's hot and it's tasty. Mm. Mm. Good morning. Well, I was not wrong. It was cold last night. I left a little cup of water out to see if it might get icy, and it is it's frozen solid. The truck thermometer says 24 degrees. Yeah, that's icy. All right, well, I'm not going to dilly-dally around here. I'm going to get down the road and warm up a little bit, and then I'll stop someplace to make coffee and breakfast. I'm just not quite prepared for this level of cold. quick little random side road exploration. This is a completely unplanned little side trip. I keep seeing all these dirt roads heading off across valley floors to the surrounding mountains, and I finally just can't help myself. I need to poke up at least one of them. Turns out this one just loops back without winding up into the hills, but it's probably for the best that I make my way back to the highway. Exploring all these craggy mountains will have to wait for a future trip. Well, it is now Thursday afternoon, and I am in northwest Nevada. I'm probably about a good solid day's drive from Eugene. So this is my last day to kind of play, and I'm gonna play. Let me show you where I'm at. This is the Black Rock Desert. Now I know you've seen me at the Evert Desert a number of times, which is a big flat playa like this. So what makes this different? Well, for one, it's bigger. It's much, much bigger. The Evert Desert is about 5 miles across, I think, and maybe 11, 12 miles long. This playa is, I don't even remember. I'll have to put it on the screen. It's a lot bigger. It's surrounded by these interesting Nevada mountains. I got here pretty early in the afternoon, and I'm glad because I wanted to have the time to just explore. It's so vast. I want to be able to just drive and check out whatever seems interesting. So far I've driven about 30 miles out here. Still haven't even got across. Why are playas so intriguing to drive on? I don't know, I think there's a number of reasons. One is, I think, just the absolute freedom. You can just go anywhere, point your vehicle in any direction and go, as long as it's not, you know, wet and muddy, because then you're not going anywhere. But, you know, it's like there's all of this landscape, this scenery around me, and let's say I want to explore those sand dunes right over there. All I got to do is turn and drive right to them. Let's say I want to explore that mountain right there, or at least the base of it. I don't have to find a road. I don't have to worry about whether or not I can get there. I can just go. Is this silly? Maybe this is silly. I don't know. I think it's fun. I think it's cool to explore a new area this way without having to mess around with roads. Well, I always kind of felt like camping on the playa was maybe a little too Instagrammy, but you know what? It's pretty dang awesome. It's just gorgeous in every direction. The sunset was just colors changing all over the course of it, and I couldn't keep up with it with the cameras and the drone and everything else. But there is no wind. There is no wind. I just assumed it would be gusting across here like it does on the Evert Desert. What an absolutely gorgeous night. This is definitely my favorite campsite of the entire trip. Morning. Last sunrise of this trip. Well, that's it. That is the end of this trip. I hope you've enjoyed it as much as I have. From meeting so many amazing people at Expo, to seeing the spectacular wonders of northern Arizona and southwestern Utah, meeting Matt from Matt's Off-Road Recovery, just taking a little time to explore just a really teeny tiny little corner of the Southwest. But we've reached the end of this one. It is time to air up and head home. I'd like to take a moment to say thank you to the companies whose partnerships over the years have helped make these videos possible. Shout out to John DZ Adventuring and Honda for getting me down to Expo, and to Jason Neal for creating the amazing emblem on my truck. I am immensely grateful for my Patreon supporters. I could not do this without you. And thanks, as always, to all of you who watch my videos. I genuinely appreciate you making time for me in your life. You have to be very, very careful with long shots like that. You get quarter mile away and you can no longer see the tripod and the camera. I've been using Gaia GPS to put pins every time I place a camera so I can find my way back to it.